Hi everyone and welcome to Infinox Market Insights with me, Richard Perry, analysing markets for Infinox on Wednesday the 16th of March. Now, markets across the board are looking more risk positive today. We've seen the suggestion from President Zelensky of Ukraine that there is a more realistic positioning between the two sides with regards to the prospect of peace talks. So this is encouraging, but obviously nothing yet signed or delivered. But we certainly hope that this is the case, and that is being reacted through major markets. Certainly we've seen equity markets pulling sharply higher overnight, Asian markets especially, given the sharp sell-off that we saw on Chinese equities recently. But that's also being seen through European indices as well. We're also seeing a minor risk bias through Forex majors, the US dollar starting to lose a little bit of its strength, and it'll be interesting to see if that continues. Also interesting that oil is holding up, but it may just be a little bit of a near-term rebound in the corrective move. Now, the Federal Reserve is front and centre today with regards to the data and the financial calendar. So we're looking at that. That's meeting is later, and we're expecting to see a 25 basis point hike, the first rate hike that we would have seen from the Federal Reserve for 3 years, and certainly the formal ending of its loose monetary policy. And it's going to be the assessment of whether they raise rates 5, 6, or maybe even 7 times this year will be the key takeaway, I think, from this meeting. The dot plots will be giving the clues there, and obviously the press conference as well. Now, the market charts that I'm looking out for today, I'm looking at cable, which has started to find a bit of support from 130 big figure, but can it engage a recovery? I'm looking at the oil price, which has again popped a little bit higher this morning, but is it just a move that's going to be sold into? And finally, looking at the S&P 500 futures, which rallying across the board on indices, but can the S&P 500 futures get through key resistance? Let's have a look. So onto the Infinox MT5 platform, starting off with cable, and we can see this sharp downtrend that we've had cable in for the last few weeks, ever since the Ukrainian conflict broke out, and we've seen that really strengthening the dollar as the cable has been moving below the key support around in the low 130s, but now hitting a low of bang on to the pip, 130 big figure on MT5, and just finding a basis of support at that level. But as you can see, I'm zooming out a couple of levels here, you can see this downtrend channel that cable has been in, big swings within this trend channel, and obviously, well, that's now back towards the bottom of the trend channel, and with the RSI moving towards oversold and starting to find a basis of support in the last couple of days, is this the moment we start to see cable turning around again? Now, the question being, this resistance overhead. Yesterday's reaction high was 130.80, 130.90, and that was an old reaction low. So this resistance overhead comes into play, 130.80 up towards the 131.20 area, so about 40 pips or so of resistance overhead. If the market can get through that, that would be confirming the downtrend breach, also starting to turn around, and you'd also start to see this 4-hour RSI improving. You've already got a slight positive divergence here, so there is this prospect that the market is telling us that the downside momentum is waning now on cable, and maybe time for a turnaround. Obviously, the key resistance overhead comes in at 131.95, and that really would signal the time for a recovery. But for now, just we're looking at the 130.80 resistance. Oil chart has been selling off decisively. This is a 4-hour chart. We can see the sharp moves to the downside, breaching this support at 107.30. That old support becomes new resistance. 107.30 to 108.75 is key resistance overhead now. And the market is just picking up in the last 12-hour period. 3 candles of the 4-hour chart is moving higher. And it looks as though this is just rebounding from oversold. A little bit of a near-term unwind, but essentially this is still a corrective chart. But I go to the daily chart, and you can see that this is unwound back to the uptrend. So this is an important moment. How the market responds to this rebound and the resistance overhead is crucial, because obviously if it now starts to fail underneath that resistance and then comes back to test that uptrend again, given the fact that momentum is sort of looking a bit more corrective, I'd say that there is scope for potentially further downside or an unwind, and then you're looking at maybe $90 again and $95. So it's an important moment, I think, for oil. And finally, S&P futures. Well, we are still in this sharp downtrend, but there is a pickup in the last 24-hour period. Obviously, yesterday's candle was a positive one. That's actually a bullish engulfing candle, so that is encouraging news, and it's coming now to test this resistance overhead. And if I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see this resistance that comes in at 4198 up towards 4235. There was a bit of a spike on that 4235, so 4198 above 4200 is the first real sign that the market would be turning more positive. That would also see that 4-hour RSI moving above that 60-65 area, would again is show encouraging momentum. It's not yet happened. The European markets are leading this breakout for now, but the S&P 500 futures is sort of coming up on the sidelines and still also improving. But you need to see the support starting to form. 4240, that needs to hold, and breaking out above 4200 at least, I think would suggest that we are starting to see a test of what would be that downtrend and the more considerable resistance that comes in at 4417. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative for your trading. Join me again on Friday where I'll be rounding up how the markets are looking at the end of another trading week. So I'll leave you with the Infonox support and resistance table, and I'll speak to you then. Thank you very much, everybody.